you stumbled into a show, it's some kind of podcast. We like to set ourselves apart. Actually, I think the industry sets us apart. We're like an anti-podcast, if such a thing could exist in the world of podcasting. It's Binge-Watchers podcast. They call me Johnny Spoiler because I sometimes accidentally spoil the movies that I love on the show. That's what I do here. Joined as always by the savage Scream Queen Jordan Savage, who's so savage she can review a movie without having seen it while getting her pump on at the local jam. She's like a barbarian queen from the 80s movies, so I'm sure all the fanboys are drooling. And the fangirls are like trying to figure out what gym she's at. We won't tell you what gym she's at. And don't stalk her on Instagram.
Yeah, don't even think about it.
Like, don't even think about it. You can Google us. Believe it or not, our show does appear on Google, so that's something. Only took 10 years. What are you going to do? Keep on podcasting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We just keep on podcasting.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Whoa. I thought I was going to play again. I accidentally clicked something in the studio, folks. There's a little video stream studio where I have a bunch of buttons. And I thought I accidentally was going to play the theme song again, but I didn't. So there we go. Jordan stared at me like, what the heck? He's not saying anything. Crunchyroll launched their second annual anime event. That's kind of like what we do too. We decided to move our April anime into May. So it's like anime. Get it? It's a joke. Anime from the word anime. Ha ha ha. What's going on with Crunchyroll specifically? I actually was going to write it down and I didn't. I do know that they're probably running the new season. They have something like 20 new shows for their anime lineup. Anime. Get it? Ha ha ha. And I think it probably includes the new season of Chainsaw Man, which is kind of a crazy show. The guy turns into like a chainsaw mutant. Anyway, look that up. I think they have the seasons of that on Hulu too. I don't know. All the streamers seem to like either be working together or they have some of the same shows. You really can't tell. Anyway, Crunchyroll is like destination anime, you know? The Jon Snow spinoff is no longer spinning off. Bummer. I wanted to see Jon Snow kill dead things in ice, you know, like with his Viking type friends, you know, or
and
what
Ghost.
They call them the free folk.
The free folk, yeah.
Yeah, but they're basically like Vikings in a frozen wilderness. Yeah, anyway, it would have been the Wildlings. Yeah, anyway, it would have been a great show. I don't know what's going on. Spending too much money on their other spinoffs. Who knows? That's Game of Thrones. Look it up, people. It's on like Max, which used to be called HBO. It was HBO for like 35 years. Now it's called Max. Whatever. Max Television. Maximum Television. America.
You make it sound better than just Max, so...
Do I? Hire me. You can pay me to talk things. I will talk stuff. For money. Only for money.
Just for money, though. Yeah.
I will talk things for money. Talk things, money. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin is supposedly going to be adapted into an R-rated live-action movie. As Jordan likes to say, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
Anyway. I like the idea, except I don't like who they picked for the last Ninja Turtle, because the Last Ronin, it's like a comic book where 3 of the 4 turtles are dead, and the 4th one is kicking around on like a revenge trip, lone samurai, you know, and it's in like a Mad Max type, like it's like apocalyptic, right? Shredder's gone, his daughter might still be alive, the foot soldiers are kicking around, but then there's like some cybernetic baddies too, and like whatever, and then when you see the Last Ronin in the comic book, it's like shrouded, so you can't tell which turtle it is. But the turtle has the weapons of all the turtle brothers, right? So, and then you find out it's Michelangelo, and you're like, no, dude, the Cowabunga one isn't going to be the one that would like he survived. He becomes the best turtle, the most qualified turtle to survive. Anyway, I don't know. And the other ones die brutally. It's like a violent comic book, but serious. It's supposed to be like the old school turtle comics were like kind of green, like grimy, dirty, raw kind of. So they went back to that. But then they're like, oh, as a comic book, it did so well. They did like the Last Ronin 2, and then they just introduced like 4 more turtles. Like, what was the point of that?
The point of doing it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like, oh no, we need a sequel. We have to have more turtles, which we don't have. And they just made up like 4 more. I don't get it. No. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're re-releasing Interstellar this fall into theaters for the 10th anniversary. And it's going to be like this big giant IMAX thing where they have giant footage playing 70 millimeter. That's a huge, you could like stand in front of a camera lens that big. Because after 35 is pretty big and that's standard. If you stand in front of something that's like 50 millimeter or 65 millimeter, it's like bigger than a person's head. And 70 millimeter, that's outrageous. Although Quentin Tarantino released one of The Hateful Eight, his Western, in some giant like 65 millimeter or something. But I'll just say this. Interstellar is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I don't care so much about the Batman movies, or even Oppenheimer was pretty good, but I still think Interstellar is like the tops for me. Because it seems like if we're ever going to go past like the basic outer space that we've done, what happens in Interstellar seems probable.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, like, just the fact that it's 10 years, and I remember so vividly someone saying that this was a movie, and this is what got me interested in watching it in the first place. They were like, this was a movie that I regret not seeing in theaters. This was a movie that I wish I would have seen in theaters. So it's cool that they're going to re-release it. And it's what wanted me to like actually watch it. And so, but you're right. It's like, how do you make the concept of space better?
So here's this crazy thing. Like a bunch of movies that are like pre-streaming era are being re-released in theaters to support people going to the theaters, which is really funny because like it's almost like they can't seem to reverse engineer quality movies for streaming content because they're being dictated by the algorithm. Like, oh, people are watching this, so let's make this. We need to make more of these. But they still aren't really hitting like cinema quality, right? And so they're like, oh, this movie's back in the theaters, come watch it. This movie's back in the theaters, come watch it. And you're like, oh, that's from the 90s or that's from the early 2000s or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just seems like for spacefaring stuff that could be realistic, Interstellar is pretty much the tops. Gosh, and I've watched that movie a handful of times. I love it every time I watch it. So anyway, yeah, I mean, maybe I go see that. Who knows? Rumor mill. We might have touched on this already. I can't remember if we talked about this. There is a Chris Farley biopic coming out, and it might star Paul Walter Hauser as Chris Farley. Seems long overdue, just like a John Belushi movie is long overdue. It seems like a Chris Farley movie is long overdue. But I mean, how do you harness? It's really hard to do a biopic of somebody that like is like a great character, or also like such a unique individual that accomplished something, right? If you think about it, because like they're almost 1 in a million, right? Like if you're like known for something, how do you go find somebody else to like who's good enough? Or by the way, can you portray this other person?
Well, and that's the second part. It's like, how can you portray that uniqueness in a movie? It would be hard to duplicate.
How do you like that. It's like lightning in a bottle. How do you get it a second time when you're trying to talk about this person's life or something? Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe some more so with like comedians they're trying to like put in a movie or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The one who's done it the best is probably Jim Carrey for Andy Kaufman. Yeah. In Man in the Moon. Yeah. Or Man on the Moon, something like that. No, Man in the Moon, because the face of the Man in the Moon. Yeah, Man in the Moon. Keanu Reeves is going to do Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic 3, which is the only thing that matters. Like, forget the Middle East conflicts. Forget about the economy. The only piece of news that anybody needs to have is that Keanu Reeves is playing Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic 3. There's going to be a Sleepy Hollow remake. I don't know if you saw the horror movie with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci.
One of my favorites.
Okay.
I
All right.
don't know why we need a remake, though.
Don't know why we need a remake. Well, I mean, the Headless Horseman story continuously gets remade, right? So, like, that Sleepy Hollow from Tim Burton with Christina Ricci and Johnny Depp was not like the first go around, right? Because there was Disney's Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane or whatever. But which one's going to be better?
No, so like, who's going to be better than Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci? I don't know.
I have always liked the Headless Horseman. He throws like flaming pumpkin heads around, or his like temporary heads that he steals. I like the idea. Like the idea of a murderous, rampaging, supernatural baddie that's like looking for his own head, and until he finds it, he's just lopping off heads of everybody else in sight.
Yeah, he's getting revenge.
I mean, the original story is creepy because think about it. Like, you're just like an average school teacher on your way home, and you stay out too late, and now you're being chased by the Headless Horseman or whatever.
It'd be terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's a movie called The Four Seasons, and it came out like either late 70s, early 80s, and it's just about like two couples that are really close friends, but then one of the couples gets a divorce, and then they start dating other people, which introduces other people into the mix of their little social world, and they can't handle it, and they start to fall apart. Who's in the original? Is it? Can't think of the names of the actors, but they're recognizable faces. Sorry, folks, I skipped on that one. Anyway, but Steve Carell and Tina Fey are going to play one of the couples in the remake of The Four Seasons. So I always wondered why this movie cropped up on Netflix, because there was no conceivable reason. But Netflix has like a pattern of, if there's an original they're remaking, they throw it up into their queue, right?
Get all the
see
excitement.
If it gets traction, or build the excitement of the remake and see if there's any attention around it. So if it's still on Netflix, go watch the original 4 seasons and see what it's all about. Pretty good. It's a template for like romantic comedies and dramas. And that one I'm actually, it's like they're just like, oh, remake this, remake that, remake that. This one doesn't bother me. I'll probably tune into it. And then finally, this movie called Nightbitch is finally going to release in December of 2024. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's Amy Adams, the girl from American Hustle, the girl from
I love her.
Enchanted. It's Amy Adams, right? Is that her name?
Yeah. She also plays the assistant in Talladega Nights.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the correct Amy. She basically acts like a dog. I think it's based on a book. It might be based on a book, but highly anticipated release. So I hope it lives up to the hype. Where she's convinced she's turning into a dog.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's not exactly a werewolf movie, but it's dog adjacent, so we'll take it. And then if anybody's waiting for a live action He-Man or Masters of the Universe movie, supposedly we're going to get one in June 5 of 2026. We'll see. Long gestating. Go back and watch Masters of the Universe 84 or 89. Somewhere. Was that 89 or 84? I had the year pegged a couple weeks ago. It was fresh in my head, and now, of course, because we're recording, I can't think of which year in the 80s the other one came out, right? That's how it goes. Whatever. It's great. It's called Dolph Lundgren. It's like probably my favorite movie of his. He's He-Man / Prince Adam / whatever. Go watch it. Didn't I talk about Masters of the Universe for like 20 minutes the other day? Like, we were in an episode and it wasn't even about Masters. Do you remember that? I'm not gonna do it tonight. I promise. I'm gonna cap it off. Okay. The Last Showgirl is coming out with Pamela Anderson. Here's what I wrote down for this, folks. Older nudity. I love skin with mileage.
You do.
I do. I got a thing. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I love older skin with mileage. So I can't wait. I don't know if it's good. One can assume based on her past shenanigans.
Safe assumption.
And the quality of her work in the past that we're going to get some skin or skin with mileage. Skin mileage. I would watch that movie too. Hey, John, have you heard about
It's
this
just
movie
called
called
Skin
Skin
Mileage.
Mileage? Yeah, dude. I want to write this down. John, write a movie called Skin Mileage and then hype it up. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna circle Skin Mileage on my notes. Yeah.
I
That could
can't
be a
wait for you to
novel.
go look back on that.
What?
Like
What?
just a couple
What?
weeks from now, and you're like Skin Mileage. I wonder what
Why
that.
did I write down Skin Mileage in the notes? All right. Netflix is supposedly also doing a live action Scooby Doo. Who cares? That's what I wrote. I don't care. There's too much Scooby Doo. There's too many movies. Literally, USA and Sci-Fi Network every weekend for like the last 7 years have played 10 to 12 Scooby Doo animated movies every weekend. I'm not joking. Like every weekend for the last 7 years, they've been on television. So
I love the like original animation, but I just this stuff evolves too quickly for me, and then I can't get on board. And again, we just did a live action not that long ago, so why? I just don't understand more remakes. Like,
ooh, there's also like a Dirty Velma cartoon on Max as well.
that's
Like
perfect.
a grown-up Velma doing.
See,
stuff.
that's something different, but like, why?
Well, it's Scooby Doo related, you know.
I love it. Yeah.
And instead of just making innuendo about like weed jokes, like everything in Velma is like exactly what they say it is. So
Right.
anyway. Unrelated story, but also on Netflix, Tom Segura is getting a sitcom. You know, he does a lot of TikTok commentary on his podcast. He's a comedian. But I mean, I think like I think he's really big because of his presence on YouTube. Like he does a podcast with his wife, who's also a comedian, which they must hate each other. I mean, if they're married like 20 years, 25 years, they got kids, and they're on a podcast together every week, every day. I don't know. But what they do like this thing where they review like outrageous TikToks, and they also get videos from like just the all these overturned rocks, people under rocks in the United States. You know what I mean? Like these wild ass videos. Have you seen any of their stuff? Any of Tom Segura's? Okay.
Honestly,
Anyway.
I watched a little bit of the roast last night.
Oh, did you? I was gonna bring that up too. I'll get to that in a second. So there's finally an outcome. Last year, a couple times we followed the Jonathan Majors story because it was heartbreaking. And then, either side of the conflict, whether you believe the girl or you're on his side, it was just bad news for everyone. But finally, there's an outcome. He got ordered to go to counseling for a year. And I wrote, what did I write here? Oh, I wrote, that's nice. Clearly, if I'm writing that's nice in response to hearing the verdict, and that's my unabridged, unedited, that's my thought right out of my brain. That's the first thought that came to me was that's nice. Clearly, you could tell maybe I'm leaning more towards being on his side of the conflict. But it's based on part of the video that I saw, and I'm just trying to interpret it without sound. I just saw a clip of the conflict where he's running away from the girl, and he looks terrified. And like he knows, like, oh, she just ruined my whole career. You know what I mean? He had like a look on his face, like, oh yeah, it's all ruined. It's over with. You know, forget Ant-Man. Dang. Yeah, all you really needed to do to kill an Avengers villain was just date a crazy white girl from New York, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, the two female fans that I had just
they're like,
they just took me out of their queue. And then Jordan's like, no comment. Speaking of the roast, well, I meant to say comedian and actress Nikki Glaser is back in her second hour-long HBO special called Nikki Glaser, Someday You'll Die. It comes out on Saturday, May 11th at 10 p.m. Eastern on Max, of course. And she actually just roasted Tom Brady on Netflix. That's the roast that
I just
Jordan is referring to, yeah. You already watched some of it?
I watched all of it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
is it funny?
She's the funniest, yeah.
Oh, she's killer at the roast. If you go back and watch like some of the Comedy Central roast she's on, she does a great job.
I hear her and Kill Tony were like the best.
Yeah.
And Tom wasn't that funny. He did a bit with Bert, and
he looked uncomfortable. I saw him in some of the clips. He doesn't look like he's having a good time.
Everybody looked uncomfortable, though. It was It was
Oh man, I'm gonna
uncomfortable.
watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I
I
can
was
say,
sweating. I was sweating the whole time.
well,
Put a shirt on to like absorb the sweat. So
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of good working comedians at this time are on this Tom Brady roast, but also Netflix was doing like a week of stuff because they're doing like Netflix is a joke. They're doing like their own comedy festival. I saw the Cat Williams like special he just put out. That was like 2 days ago or something. Hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like at the top of his game after doing this. Is it Shannon Sharp interview? He did this like interview that's like just like now
He was
like
spilling the tea too.
well, yeah, exactly. Like he laid all the dirt out and like
Yeah.
it's incredible. And then like he bounced back and did this special for Netflix and it's absolutely
Good for him.
like yeah, like he is so funny, man. Like obviously obviously, you know, cultural references aside, like, you know, things that maybe don't translate if you're not, you know, didn't grow up with them in his neighborhood or what have you, right? Like he's freaking funny, man. He's becoming like one of my favorite comedians because he's just like consistently funny across all his specials anyway. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, usually at this point in the show, we have ads that play, but I'm kind of over sponsors right now, and this is why.
Podcast art anarchy. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, just podcast anarchy. Here we go, 2024. No, like I remember I actually bitched about sponsors a couple years ago, and then I was pitching a company, and it's actually the Movie Box company, and like the owner's wife had like listened to a few of our episodes, and she's like, he's really like tearing into his fucking sponsors. So I don't know. Yeah, and they came on like during a holiday run. They're like, yeah, we want you to promote, you know, like our movie subscription box, you know, for the holidays, but and then I was just like, oh, it's a joke. Don't even worry about it. I wasn't talking shit about my sponsors. It was a joke.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love companies or people that support our show, obviously. However, like when you're working with brands and you're getting raw dealed all the time and they're like, wait 2 months to get paid. And then 2 months come or in that 2-month period, they find a way not to pay you. You kind of feel like they're using all that time, the double time or whatever, so they don't have to pay you as a creator. And I'm like thinking like, well, you know, like we rent space to do the show. Like we're also working people. I mean, so we're trying to do the gigs and we're trying to make the shows.
The time.
It actually costs us time to produce the show. Like, you know, there's a lot of things going on. And I just feel like the name of the game right now is like not supportive of the creators, you know? So anyway,
Podcast
but
anarchy.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're not here to talk about that. Really, it's not the show about sponsors. That'd be really funny. There's just a show, just like it's like AA, but for podcasters, you know, just to go air their grievances or something, you know. Like, let's see, like podcasting has ruined their life, and that's their addiction instead of gambling or like narcotics.
My name's
how'd you ruin your life and end up in a box? I tried to podcast and get sponsors, and it fucking ruined my life. You know what?
My name's Jordan, and I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan. I have been podcasting for 3 years.
Yes.
She just got her chip.
Yes.
Oh man, dang. They're like, how long has it been since you picked up the microphone? You're like, oh shit, only a day. Tonight's movie is called Black Lion or Fear the Black Lion. It's an OVA from 92. That's a condensed video animation. Anyway, supposedly in the year 1580, Oda Nobunaga is on the verge of ruling Japan with the aid of a powerful enforcer. I'm having a hard time speaking words today.
That's okay.
Jeez.
It's going to get worse whenever I have to talk about my hits.
He has an enforcer named Gane Domo. He was a samurai that's been turned into a ninja-killing cyborg. But an Aiga ninja named Sushimaru is determined to avenge his brethren at any cost. Basically, this samurai is just running through all the ninja everywhere. Like, you know, like a hot knife through butter. Yes. Or chafing the wheat in the fields. He's just running through all the ninjas he can find. This synopsis was courtesy of the anime.org. I've noticed something. It's like a it's definitely a trend. So if you watch anime, the ninjas are always the heroes. However, if you watch martial arts movies or samurai films, the ninjas are always the bad guys. And it's pretty much consistent across the genres. This movie's called The Black Lion, but the dude has a red suit. And it's like glaringly red, his little ninja costume. So I'm like, why didn't they just call him the Red Lion? And I guess because he has black hair. The only other trait that the main character has, is he's got a red suit and he's got long black hair. So I guess that's the only reason they would call him the Black Lion. Or he's a lion that strikes at night, so he's the Black Lion. I mean, I don't know. It's like a ninja metaphor or something, right?
It has
But
to be.
anyway. Do you have savage stats?
I got nothing for you. No stats. There's no stats.
No, you gotta
okay?
say like, these are my stats. I have nothing.
I don't have anything for you.
It was a manga, and I want to say it's drawn by the bad boy of manga. No, just kidding. I don't even know if the manga community assigns like one artist. That'd be really funny. We should look it up. Is there a bad boy of manga? We'll find out. We'll tell you later, folks.
The only thing I can say about it is that it was published like 3 or 4 different times. Like first in 1978, again in 1984, and then a third time published in 1990.
The same book, new covers or new drawings, or I don't know.
It doesn't go into specifics.
Doesn't go into it.
But yeah, because it was published a 4th time in 1995. So it's crazy.
Favorite bits from Black Lion, Jordan? What do you got for us?
I would say when the main character Shishimaru is like using
sushi, like the word sushi.
Okay, Sushimaru,
like the food,
is using his magic because he's got like sort of it's technically not magic, right? So
but they really put on a show for you, just like a magician. So they can
do.
Yeah, it's gunpowder running through bamboo rockets or something. But he goes, "Iga Ninja, launch your magic!" and bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, he's got these like almost scarecrow looking things, and he's using smoke to create an illusion to.
Oh, when he tricked him with the fake ninjas, that was pretty cool.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah," so thought that was pretty awesome. And yeah, I mean that was pretty cool, and I didn't see the cyborg stuff coming, so I was surprised, especially with the fact that it's supposedly taken place in 1580, but there's machine guns and stuff.
I'll tell you why in a minute, but
tell me.
Well, I was gonna write. So for my first favorite bit, I wrote crazy anime shit happens in the first minute, right? Because you see the armored mechanical cyborg stuff and the lasers blowing up the regular, forces at the village. You're like, what the heck?
You definitely see the lasers. Yeah.
Second favorite bit, there's a cyborg samurai Terminator style. Yeah, this guy, Domo or something, like, they're like, oh, he's the immortal samurai because, hello, he's got like a cyborg skeleton underneath his regular skin. He's a cyborg, and every time they chop bits off, he just puts them back on.
Literally.
It's funny that the main character's name is Sushimaru because it sounds like they're saying the word sushi, which is cool. I don't even know. It probably doesn't mean the same thing, but it sounds like sushi, and I love sushi, so what are you going to do?
Me too.
The best line in the whole thing. Well, later on when the guy's talking about like the kind of explosions they're going to have are kind of ending, they're doing like this, back and forth anime talk. But the main character is complaining when they're like, you got to work with the female ninjas, and he's like, oh, I don't want to work with women. Women are too loud. I was like,
I thought it was though, and this is like all of my stuff is assumptive, right? I'm just like taking bits and I'm like doing my own assuming of the plot. But I thought it was because his, lady friend that he lost looked similar to the girl that he was supposed to work with, because doesn't he mistake her when he goes
that might be like the extra layer, like the actual truth of why he doesn't want to work with female ninjas, because he was in love with one of the female ninjas and she died early on because of like a mistake or something. Yeah, it's fine, but also there's like characters in anime are highly skilled, but there's also like this social thing where like the guys are bumbling idiots and they have no Riz, as the kids say these days.
That doesn't
No
happen in real
charisma
life,
for
so.
Riz. Yeah. Hey, what doesn't
Just
happen in
kidding.
real life? What doesn't
That the
happen in real
guys
life?
are not bumbling idiots. So.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
kidding, I'm kidding.
we got our shit together. What are you talking
Stop.
about? Yeah,
Uh,
under control over here.
honestly, I loved that they were thinking that an explosion was gonna do it, right? And then essentially, I thought when they were referring to as like the Black Lion, it was the beings that like transported them to the field.
Mm,
Do you remember that?
yeah, so folks, this is what happened. So first of all, you're like, why is the Terminator running around killing ninjas in feudal Japan? And then he's about to go nuclear. His little battery pack's gonna explode and kill the heroes on the field of battle. And then, like, yeah, 3 ghost-like aliens who are made out of balls of energy show up and save the main character and his 2 ninja friends from utter annihilation. And they're like, we're gonna tap you for a mission in the future. We'll see you later for now. And what's cool about this is like the shorter animes are really cool. It's like the perfect movie is 90 minutes. The perfect anime might be 45 minutes. Like usually in anime, there's too many paragraphs talking. Sometimes there's animation where like when they shortchange the animation or they run out of money, they'll show you like a matte painting or like an object while you hear people talking. Like there's one anime that's like notorious for doing it. What is that? Oh, Evangelion, which is about like teenagers in mech suits fighting giant aliens. However, like in some of the later episodes, I don't know if they run out of money, but like literally you hear people talking for like 25 minutes and you're just staring at like the wall or a telephone. So I really love the animations that keep it tight. And this thing
Yes.
starts in a battle and basically continues in a battle. It only pauses when the ninjas are like, damn, he's killed like 500 of our ninjas. We're going to lose 500 more. How do we kill this thing? You know what I mean? There's only pauses in this thing, or as you said, a flashback about the previous encounter with this thing. And then like, you know, every time one of the, I don't know, supporting characters is getting taken out or whatever, it's like, and how many ninjas were harmed in the making of this movie? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of dead ninjas.
A lot of them.
A lot of dead ninjas. We have a rating system on our show that's like patented, where the hosts give their overall rating, and we do this thing called binge now, binge later, or binge never. Now, later, or never. I'm sure you can figure it out, but if you can't, this is how it works. Move it to the top of your list. Get to it eventually. Or don't waste your time. You can't get your life back. What are you doing with yourselves in your life? Really, really think about what's happening to you. That was kind of exaggerated, but I thought I would just keep going until I got it done.
Just
You can't stop a bit, folks. You have to just follow it to its natural conclusion.
You have to see it through. Yeah.
Yeah, which could be seconds later, minutes later. It could go on for years. There's bits I haven't even stopped yet.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway.
I would rate it a binge now. It was 45 minutes.
Okay.
I love how literal it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Which is probably another common trope in anime. It's all literal. There's no metaphor. It's like all literal.
It's just so literal. And I mean, I love that it's supposed to take place in 1580, but then there's like spaceships.
But they got year 3000 tech. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's how I feel about it.
And if they hadn't cut away to outer space and showed us a spaceship, we wouldn't have figured out who dropped the technology anyway. It's like one could assume it's not very well fleshed out. I mean, you could assume it's like 2 different aliens and they've picked sides, you know, humans on either side or whatever to I don't know, win the battles for them. I don't know, who knows. You know, this thing was sitting around as a binge later for me for like 10 years already. Like it was mentioned to me that I should watch it, that I would like something like this, and I just never watched it. And the whole thing for the show is like, damn it, what animes am I going to show Jordan this year? You know what I mean? So I was like, let's dust that one off, dust that wreck off, and watch it. It remains a binge later for me because I'm just I'm a little bit entitled, folks. I've seen so much anime. I'm a little spoiled these days. Okay, seen a lot of good stuff. I'm sure there's stuff that never even crossed the sea, though. That's probably true. There's probably stuff we've never even seen or heard of that's over there. That's really amazing. But yeah, I mean, like, as far as I think about martial arts related anime, Fist of the North Star is still the tops, and then followed only second by Ninja Scroll, which is like the most infamous anime of all time. maybe only comparable to like Akira, which they say is Akira over here, but it's really Akira, which I've made that. I just every time, I don't know why.
It's the bit that
It's
keeps on giving.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that can't stop. Yeah, just keeps going. So yeah, binge later. What are the fans doing? Fan service. I had mentioned this movie called Used Cars. It's a Kurt Russell movie from, I think, the 80s. I mentioned it on LinkedIn the other day. And so Greg said, thanks for reminding him of the movie. He loves that movie. And I'm just probably going to watch it again and loves to watch it when it gets brought up. It is one of those movies, if Used Cars on the TV, you kind of stop. If you're not familiar with Kurt Russell selling cars, you're like, oh, he's not doing his typical thing, action movie, whatever, Kurt Russell. And or The Thing is always playing on TV. So if he's not fighting mutated aliens and you see him just selling cars, you might stop. Maybe you might stop. I don't know. He's getting a little long in the tooth these days. I wonder if people still know Kurt Russell like they used to know Kurt Russell. A lot of my favorite actors are like 60, 70, 80 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
He's still good looking. Okay. So
I'm not talking about his looks, or I mean, I'm sure he's still charming, but like, just whether or not, like, you know what I mean, his star shining still bright enough for people to be like, oh, Used Cars with Kurt Russell. Gotta sit down and watch this. It's on.
Hey, you're doing it right now. So
yeah, that's true. Staff picks. If there's any recs that aren't the movie of the week that you want people to tune in for. We've had a couple weeks off, so maybe there might be some stuff to that's been seen. I'm not sure. Jordan, you got some stuff that they should see?
I watched Peanut Butter Falcon yesterday, and it was so cute. So just great feel-good movie on a Sunday where you need to like not have an agenda. That was a great movie. So
I watched that thing you told me about. I watched Baby Reindeer. I don't think I liked it as much as you did.
I don't know
that's
if I liked it, but it was thrilling and terrifying.
So that's a series also on Netflix. We've talked about. It seems like this show is all about Netflix or Max tonight.
Seriously.
And it's a series. It's about a comedian that gets stalked by a bar patron because he works at a bar, and then they have a relationship. It's all kind of confusing. And then they don't, and then he just seems like a magnet for abuse, right? Because I don't want to spoil the whole thing, obviously. Yes. I shouldn't spoil it at all because I'm supposed to only spoil things I like.
Yes.
Anyway, what else is going on? There was a movie I watched. What did I watch? Oh, I did see that Late Night with the Devil because they put that on Shudder. We'd almost reviewed that for the show. I'm glad we didn't because I was pretty disappointed. But people are super jazzed about that movie right now. Like, oh, it's creative and like, exorcism on a late night TV show, blah blah blah. They're like, it does some cool things with the kills, blah blah blah. And I don't know, it didn't really get me on the level that everybody's like hyped it up for, But that's a couple other things you can watch if you're not doing anything else. What's going on? Let's see. If you're listening to this, it's going to be followed by another bonus anime episode. I think it will be the Fist of the North Star episode because I loved reviewing that movie. And since we've already done it, I hate to repeat reviews. I almost told Jordan to watch that one too. I don't remember if Jordan did that one with us or not. But anyway,
I don't think so.
That'll be tagged on this one. And if you're just watching this, like on the YouTubes or whatever, then in the description, I'll put a link to that other review and you guys can watch that classic episode. Thanks for tuning in. I would encourage you to subscribe, go to our website, bwpodcast.com, figure out what's going on. We have some clippies on the social channels to take a look at. And we're coming back for a hell of a movie next week, although I got to find a copy of it. It doesn't seem to be widely available. We might be renting this one as if we could go rent movies. No, we'll probably have to rent it from like Amazon or I don't know, Vudu or something, like one of these streamers online. We're actually going to sit down and watch the Rainbow Bright movie of all things. Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer. Yeah. We're venturing into other related anime/animated movies of a certain rapport. So, oh boy, is my answer to that. Oh boy.
That's literally the note. for the movie for next week, so that's how I know it's going to be good.
Oh yeah, I did write my comment into the end of the note. I wrote Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer dash. Oh boy. You know what? I shouldn't have played the outro theme because I told them a bonus episode was coming next, and then I played the outro anyway. Hot dog. Whatever. Killer anime podcast, Jordan.
Woo! I'm ready for next week.
So much Binge-Watchers.
All of the Binge-Watchers. Binge the
All of them.
Binge-Watchers.
All of them into one just big giant pile of flesh. And videotapes. Flesh and videotapes. There's actually that almost sounds like another movie. There's a movie called Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It's pretty good. It's
That sounds awesome. I was gonna say, what is Skin Miles? That's what it was?
Skin mileage, right?
Skin Mileage.
I've already forgot, and I wrote it in the notes. Hold on.
That's what I said.
Skin mileage. Yeah.
There we go.
It said circle it. It's circled.